Welcome into Nightly Scroll. I'm Hayley Caronia. Thank you so much for watching and being part of my homies in the chat. If you want to join them, you've got to do it on Rumble. Rumble.com/Hayley is the only place you can watch Nightly Scroll in full. So if you're watching right now on X or on Facebook, you're only going to get a little snippet and you're going to want to see the whole show. So come on over to Rumble. Of course, if you can't catch us live at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, that is okay. You can watch whenever you want, or of course, you can listen on your favorite podcast platform, Apple Podcasts or Spotify. But I'm just happy that you're here. So make sure that you send the link to a friend, drop it in the group chat, tell your family. We got to grow this. So I appreciate all of you. So let's get into tonight's show. Political refugees. This is not something new, of course, but certainly something that we saw in the States after COVID, a mass exodus from blue states with tyrannical lockdown policies that shuttered schools and businesses in the name of science, power. Gavin Newsom's own parents moved to Florida from California, but it wasn't just then. More than 50,000 people moved to Florida over the last few years. And don't California my Texas, don't New York my Florida, don't vote for the policies that made you move away in the first place. We kept hearing those phrases a lot from the Texans and Floridians and Tennesseans who are now surrounded by their new liberal neighbors. Well, with the election of socialist Zohran Mamdani for mayor of New York City, one Florida mayor is expecting a massive influx again. Boca Raton Mayor Scott Singer joins me on this episode of Nightly Scroll. For joining me, I'm so excited for this conversation. So you were elected mayor of Boca Raton in 2018, is that correct?
That's right, Hayley.
So you've seen the COVID influx. Now you expect to see a Mamdani influx. How will it be different this time? Do you expect it's going to be even bigger?
Well, in Boca, we've had a lot of growth in Florida, but Boca Raton has had steady and solid growth. We're a pretty built-out city, 100,000 people, and we had an influx of residents, but we had more part-time residents become full-time residents. We don't have the capacity, we don't have raw land to build new housing, and so we're not expecting everyone who wants to flee New York to come to Boca Raton. That's why we've had targeted business outreach. We've got a very strong economy here. We punch above our weight when it comes to business. So we expect a lot of corporations to come here, new corporate headquarters, regional offices, hybrid offices in financial services, tech, telecom, and so many more industries. Not everyone's going to be able to live in Boca Raton, but we're trying to attract great high-paying jobs.
Well, that's great. So what are some of the policies that you ran on, right? Even before all of this COVID nonsense and the Mamdani nonsense, what are some of the policies that make Boca Raton a great destination for people to move, whether they're blue state refugees or just in general?
Absolutely. I'm proud that we have the lowest property tax rate of any full service city in Florida. We provide outstanding services, but very efficiently. We're very lean at the city. In fact, we've lowered our property tax rate 7 consecutive years. Modest decreases, but I still think that's a bonus when you have jurisdictions around us increasing them. And again, the lowest property tax rate of any full service city. My goal was to keep taxes down, grow our economy, and make sure that we provided for public safety. We have the best first responders around. We have one of the highest starting salaries for police officers in the nation. And when other candidates, like the one who just got elected in New York, were talking to fund the police in the wake of 2020, we funded our police. We made sure we retained and attracted the best police officers, and we've got great fire rescue as well. We understand that public safety is the base of the pyramid, a strong business base, and that gives us the quality of life we have with great schools, 5 miles of beaches, and so much more. That's why people want to be in Boca Raton.
I mean, I will say I'm one of these people. I don't live in Boca Raton specifically, but I am from New York. I grew up there. I grew up on Long Island. I'm conservative. My family's conservative, right? Like, we're not these bad people coming, bad people, you know what I mean? Like Democrats coming to Florida, or because I was living in New York City, and then I was there for probably 7 years, 6.5, 7 years. I didn't want to live there anymore. It was, and crime was a huge issue for me. I tell this story on my show all the time, but I witnessed domestic assaults on the subway. I had to call the police because the police were not there. It was just, I honestly, some of the things that I've seen in the subway were totally disgusting. So I won't repeat them, but it's just gross. Like, just unsafe, gross. My poor roommate was assaulted by a homeless person, grabbed her, tried to drag her down onto the floor. Thankfully, she got away. I was spat on by homeless people. It's just gross, right? So I'm living there for 7 years. This was during COVID. And I'm thinking, I can't be the only one. And I certainly wasn't. But I got out and I moved to Tennessee. I moved to Nashville and I loved it. And now I'm here in Florida. But I'm not going back, right? Like there's no amount of money there's no incentive that could get me to move back to a blue state. I don't want to raise kids in a blue state. I want nothing to do with it. But here's the thing. So I've heard since moving to Florida that some Floridians don't like the New Yorkers coming down. They don't like the snowbirds that come down, but they're on the move, right? There's nothing you could do about it. Rick Scott was saying that he is welcoming New Yorkers, as are you, of course. On the other hand, Greg Abbott in Texas said that he wanted to, implement some like tariff on people coming to Texas who are moving from California, New York, wherever. So do you have any concern that when people come to Florida, to Boca Raton from somewhere else, they're going to bring those bad policies or those bad voting habits with them?
No, actually, the history over the last 7 years has demonstrated the opposite. Florida, which was a purple state and had a 300,000 Democratic advantage in voting, it now has a 1.4 million Republican voting advantage. In 7 years, we've had 1.7 million gain in Republican voters. So the people who are moving here, and it's not just New York, it's Illinois, it's California, it's other places, are moving here because of our low tax, streamlined, low government, small government policies. And I think that's something that we can take heart of. And even today, as I've been talking about business outreach and,
Right.
I see comments here, people concerned about, well, we don't want those New York policies. They're really not coming here. We're getting more people who want to come here, and people seeing me on conservative outlets like this and the major channels, other channels, understand that if they're hearing this message about you've got lower taxes, streamlined government, and we welcome business, they're coming here because of that. So I'm less concerned. Florida, I'm a native. I grew up down here in South Florida. I've seen our population more than double, and we all have to get used to, yes, there could be a little more traffic. In Boca Raton, as I said, we're pretty fully built out. So we're looking for people to fill that Class A office space that's already existing or under construction. Not everyone who wants to live in South Florida can, but other parts of the state are seeing population, and they're going to have to contend with that. But from a political side, we're seeing definitely a conservative lean to the votes.
Well, that's good. That's good news, especially for the people who live here and they don't want to see, the great state change. But this candidate in New York, Zohran Mamdani, he's concerning for a lot of different reasons. And, in Boca Raton, there is a big Jewish population, and Mamdani's stance on Israel was also concerning. He refused to condemn Hamas. He refused to condemn the from the river to the sea, that kind of language. He had said to globalize the Intifada, things like that. Why do you think, there were some Jewish voters in New York who backed him anyway? What do you make of that?
Well, let's start with a couple things. First, yesterday was incredibly disappointing. But I take heart that a year ago today, we elected Donald Trump to be the 47th president of the United States. And that election may be the most critical in the history of our nation, because I can take heart of what we have been able to see the president and his team accomplish over 9 months compared to what we would have had. And while we're worried about New York and the other states that went the wrong way yesterday, in my opinion, and many others, we can take heart that we've got a good path charted at the head of the federal government. In terms of Mamdani, his comments are incredibly offensive. And you omitted one, which is the boot of the NYPD that is on your neck is laced by the IDF. Anyone who wants to run a city, and I'm a mayor, if you want to run a city, you shouldn't be demonizing your police. You should be propping them up and thanking them, because that's the type of law and order we need. And then to throw in a gratuitous reference to the IDF, it really smacks of a lot of bad things. I don't have to label them. I'll let his comments speak for themselves. But everything else he said, great concern. I can't answer why so many Jewish voters voted for him in New York. I would not have been one, certainly. And I think it's a greater sign where you're seeing just this indoctrination of liberalism and this idea of oppressor and colonizer taking root in all of our, in too many of our universities. I think it has sucked in things. I don't know why. It really is mystifying to me. I've been a member of the Republican Jewish Coalition since I could vote, and proud to be out at their conference last Friday in Las Vegas and hearing people stand up to anti-Semitism on the left and even on some fringe elements of the right. But as far as New York, I can't understand why people are voting for policies beyond religion that are just so antithetical to our American ideas and nonsensical for the results that he promises to have and can't achieve.
Yeah, not only that, the day after he was elected, there were anti-Semitic attacks in Brooklyn, swastikas painted on or spray painted on a Jewish school in Brooklyn. And he posted on X saying, this is horrible. I'm going to stand up for Jews. I'm going to try to get rid of the anti-Semitism that we're seeing in New York. Do you believe that? Do you believe that he's truthful when he says this and he makes this kind of commitment based on his past comments?
The proof will be in the pudding and how he governs as a mayor. We'll really have to see this. I think there were a lot of alarming comments that came in the wake of the election. I did take note that he was singling out a whole bunch of ethnicities that helped propel him to victory. He didn't mention the word Americans in there, and ultimately we're all American voters. And again, it goes back to, I think, this kind of carving off of different identity groups, and rather than seeing us as one nation, America first. That's why I'm proud to work with mayors as part of the America First Policy Institute, because we have to focus on our national interests and at the local level as well.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that because when we talk about America First, it seems like this is a national campaign. This is something that President Trump ran on and a lot of MAGA candidates run on, putting America first. And it seems like you put America first on the world stage, but what does that look like on the state level and on the local level?
Well, sure. It means it's an appreciation, at least with our mayor's council, it's an appreciation that what happens in Washington has a direct impact on our lives. Credit to President Trump. He has secured the border. Illegal crossings are down 90 something plus percent. And that has a direct impact on here. The opioid epidemic, which is the biggest preventable killer in the United States, 80,000 deaths a year, is down dramatically because we have a more secure border. And if we're going to allow a porous border, it's going to allow drugs, it's going to allow crime, it's going to allow human trafficking. That has its resonance in cities where our first responders are dealing with overdoses and families are losing children, and you see victims of human trafficking. So America First matters at all levels of government. And that's one thing I think we conservatives need to make sure that in every election cycle, we're focusing on this. President Trump is not going to be in the ballot again, and we did not perform as well yesterday as we should have. We got to make sure for 2026 we're getting out there, and it's finding ways to resonate what happens. And I just mentioned border security, but take trade policy, economic policy, energy policy. Gas is down below $3 a gallon. We're not spending billions and billions of dollars for foreign nations for ridiculous programs as we saw through DOGE and through USAID that need to be fixed. That has an impact on our daily lives.
Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of these policies that Zohran Mamdani is pushing, these are the kinds of policies that a DOGE department would try to root out, But he is pushing for sanctuary city policies, defunding the police, decriminalizing prostitution, free buses, government-run grocery stores, Florida's prospering. Lots of people are moving to Florida. Florida doesn't do any of that. So why do you think that these are some of the policies that the Democrat Party is still pushing?
Because they've ceded a lot of ground to the far left. I mean, these are socialist policies. He bragged about which line of the ticket he voted on yesterday, not, Democrat, but on the working families line. He quotes Marx. These are ideas that are straight out of socialism. Communism has failed everywhere. And the greatest provider of opportunity and advancement for humanity has been the free market, the free exchange of goods and services and of ideas. And government control doesn't work. We've seen that so many times, and I think New York's going to get a dose of it, that you can't just tax everyone, think you're going to provide free stuff, and people aren't going to leave. I heard a stat today that 25% of business leaders may be looking to leave New York City. And that's why we've targeted our approach there. But I think we have a real decision point in America. Are we going to support free market ideas and free opportunity for everyone? Or are we going to have government control of things that like a failed state? We can't allow that to happen. And if New York City's down a bad path, I hope they right themselves soon and these ideas do not spread.
All right, taking a quick break to tell you about our sponsors for tonight's show. First up is Blackout Coffee. Let's talk about convenience without sacrificing quality. You already know I'm a huge fan of Blackout Coffee, and if you're like me, you need that caffeine fix fast in the morning, so their coffee pods are a total game changer. These are not your average grocery store pods. Blackout pods are packed with fresh roasted, bold coffee made right here in Florida, and they work fast with those single-serve pod brewers. They're fast, they're easy, they're actually delicious. I love all their flavors, especially the Christmas ones, the holiday ones that they have out right now. I'm a big peppermint mocha girl, so if you are like me and you want to get into the holiday spirit, you can check out their new flavors. They're not bitter, they're not stale. Just pop one in and boom, you've got a strong, smooth cup of coffee in just seconds. So if you're racing out the door, juggling kids, jumping into back-to-back calls, Blackout is your new morning lifesaver. And the best part is they ship nationwide, so no matter where you live, you can have Florida fresh coffee at your door in just days. Head to blackoutcoffee.com/scroll. Also want to tell you about Fatty 15. You know I'm in the gym. I care about getting good sleep and I need my joints to feel good. So if you are like me, you probably want to find something that will help you feel younger and slow down aging. And I'm excited to share with you guys C15 from Fatty 15. It is the first essential fatty acid to be discovered in more than 90 years. Fatty 15 co-founder Dr. Stephanie Van Watson discovered the benefits of C15 while working with the U.S. Navy. And based on studies, we know that when our cells don't have enough C15, they can age faster. Fatty 15 can help repair and protect age-related damage to cells and help activate pathways in the body that support our overall wellness. Fatty 15 is a science-backed, award-winning, 100% pure C15 supplement that comes in a gorgeous, reusable jar. I'm having much more energy since Fatty 15 sent me some to try, and I fall asleep like that. So Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize your C15 levels to help support your long-term health and wellness, especially as you age. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/scroll and using code SCROLL at checkout. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Back to the show. As a mayor, I want your explanation of this. So Zoran, he wants to push all these things, right? He wants to tax white people at a higher rate than other people. Let's say in a alternate reality, you wanted to push something like that. Do you think that you could actually get that done? You know, do you think that the state legislature would step in and other checks and balances would step in? Or does a Mayor Mamdani have the power to do these things that he says he's going to do?
No, New York City is unique. I mean, there is a good deal of mayoral control. When you're mayor of that city, it's 8 million plus people. You've got more government employees than a lot of states do, and a lot of states are even smaller.
Right.
He's going to have to contend with the legislature on some ideas, but some things are in his control, and these ideas are just ridiculous. He claims he wants to ensure affordable housing, but then he wants to stop the private sector from building. Right. And thinks that the government alone is going to build, that all that's going to do is decrease housing supply, drive up prices, and make it more unaffordable. And again, I feel sorry for New York. They're going to have to deal with a lot of bad ideas. It has been the capital of capital, but it may not be any longer. And again, we're going to see some real challenges over the next few years for them. I think we're going to have businesses want to come, and maybe they'll wake up to their senses. In the meantime, if we have an opportunity to grow our local economy and add to the 40 publicly traded corporate headquarters in Boca, I'll keep sending the message on what we're doing right and what mayors across the nation are doing right.
Absolutely. Do you think that New York would ever vote red again? Will we ever see a Republican mayor like Rudy Giuliani who will come in and clean everything up? Or does it have to reach Gotham City levels, or will so many Republicans leave New York that there won't be enough Republicans there to ever save it?
I'm not sure. And, New York was a Democratic city in 1989 and 1993 and 1997 when Giuliani won. He lost the first election by a very close margin, one bigger in 93 and in 97. I was living in New York in the late 90s as well, right when I got out of college. So I saw the good era. I saw how he cracked down on crime because I have experience of having visited there many times and spent a lot of time there growing up as well. He cracked down on crime. It got bad before it could get better. I think you're going to have to see some problems emerge in New York, and we're already seeing it. It's disappointing when I've been visiting over the last few years, talking to business leaders, seeing the counterfeit goods all over Fifth Avenue, like they used to do in the 80s and 90s. Seeing the quality of life issues deteriorate that are leading some of the issues that you had to talk about with your sad experience and your roommates and your friends' experience. Those are terrible things. People shouldn't have to endure life that way, and I think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, the Republican candidate, Curtis Sliwa, he was talking about sticking it out. So listen to this.
We're not leaving to Florida or Georgia or North Carolina or South Carolina, Texas or Tennessee. We stay, we fight for what we know is right. Never surrender. We improve, we don't move. This movement continues on in the subways, in the streets, in the neighborhoods, where all of you, the people, are from. And we will continue to fight. Fight, 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 fight.
Is there something to be said for sticking it out in your liberal stronghold and not moving away?
There absolutely is, and that's a personal choice individuals have to make. We moved our family in 2011 back to South Florida. My wife was originally a New Yorker. That's where we met, but this is where we wanted to raise our family. And it wasn't because of the policies there. We just wanted a better quality of life. And we thought Boca Raton offered that. And it certainly has. People have to make their choice, and I appreciate those. I do appreciate Curtis Sliwa quoting the president, fight, fight, fight. I think the bigger question is, what do we do as a nation going forward? Are we going to continue to fight for the values we hold dear as other foreign forces may want to come in? It was disappointing seeing foreign groups praising Mamdani's win, which you wouldn't, why are they weighing in here? We're going to see new ideas be coming in. Again, America first means we have to protect American interests, and that means free market opportunity, lack of government control. And so as we go forward, that fight is a national fight, and it's going to have to be fought on battlegrounds, metaphorically, of course, but at the polling places in state and local governments as well.
Yeah. A lot of people from California also were moving to Florida, and I think a lot of it had to do with Newsom's policies. I mean, his own parents moved to Florida under his reign, right? Do you think that Gavin Newsom's going to run for president in 2028?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I absolutely think he's going to run. Will he get the nomination? That's a different question. I'm not going to be voting in those primaries, but he's been gearing up. Doing things that are not necessarily gubernatorial, just with the attacks back and forth on other policy issues, but he's got to run his state. We have to focus on what we can do in our states and our nation.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I want to talk to you about working with the Trump administration. Because you were mayor under Biden administration. How has it been different?
Well, it's been outstanding, candidly. And so the AFPI Mayor's Council recently had a convening in October in Washington, D.C. We had the opportunity to have some meaningful conversations with administration representatives, and very helpful. And I think that they're focused on taking, again, the national policies we're putting through and the executive orders that are coming down, and opportunities from One Big Beautiful Bill, which will provide a whole range of opportunities that will improve lives in cities, whether it's workforce Pell to give opportunities for people to get better training in skilled trades, tax policy that helps cities, so many other things. Very excited about what's ahead and grateful for that strong relationship with the White House.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about these deportation efforts that are happening in Florida, because obviously this comes from the top down, right? This was what President Trump has ran on. He ran on it in 2016, and that was build the wall, build the wall. And of course, a lot of people's attention is on Texas and Arizona and California and some of these other border states. But this is a big issue across the country because thanks to the Biden administration, you don't have to be a border state to have this become a huge issue. You don't even have to you don't have to be a sanctuary state or city to have this become a big issue. What has this been like in Florida, and how have you seen this crackdown in Boca?
Well, I haven't particularly seen it in Boca Raton. I think we have fewer problems than other places do. But I'll give an example of another mayor who was very pleased because of the 287G agreement that his city was able to enter into with ICE. Because by that cooperation and training and funding that came from the federal government, they were able to form a task force and actually drive out some trained TDA gang members out of their city. And that is not a border city. I'll let that mayor speak for where it was. But it was, very pleased to hear that story because that came directly out of offers of help that the White House and the administration had offered. And that's when we're making an impact on local cities. So we can have that gratitude here. And we need that. There are cities that are besieged, unfortunately, by foreign gangs who are coming in, and the ability for this administration and this president to set the standard and provide help at the local government level is going to help cities.
Yeah, absolutely. And another scary aspect of Biden's open border crisis is that a lot of these sanctuary states, they were implementing policies that now put people who have left these blue states, they have fled the blue states to red states, and they're still dealing with these ramifications of this horrible policy, because we've seen this multiple times recently, but certainly in Florida over the last 2 months, we saw this Indian immigrant, illegal immigrant, who had obtained a commercial driver's license in California, then drove all the way from California to Florida, where he killed 3 innocent people by driving recklessly. These people do not speak English. They can't read the road signs. So what can you do on a state level or on a local level to help the administration and to help these efforts to get these people off the roads?
Well, you highlighted a great point from California. That apparently they were licensing thousands of CDL license holders who shouldn't have been licensed. And it's bad policy to try to put a square peg in a round hole and try to, being a commercial trucker takes a good deal of training. You just can't expedite that necessarily, and you need to understand the rules of the road and everything else. That may not have been done there. States need to make sure that they're ensuring the right policies, that they're going through all the steps for people who need to get licenses like that or look to get licenses like that. And I think it really happens more at the state level because that state licensure is state by state.
Interesting. And I know that the Trump administration has also been doing some work in Florida in a lot of different towns trying to get rid of these rainbow crosswalks. Did you have a rainbow crosswalk in Boca Raton?
We didn't. In the city of Boca Raton, we focus on governance. We have no DEI efforts, no ESG. We've never had racial preferences, minority preferences. We try to contract for services to provide the best services to the residents. And from a government standpoint, it's about effectiveness and cost efficiency. That's how we have low taxes. At the state level, yes, there were some crackdowns on sidewalk paintings and roads that were not compliant with the traffic manual. So we saw the governor take action there.
Yeah.
But we did not have that issue in Boca Raton.
Well, that's good to know. But it's good that, there are action being taken, or there is action being taken to keep the streets safer, because this is all just pandering to the left. Like whatever LGBTQ group or whatever, they want to paint something rainbow, whatever, paint it rainbow, but not on the street. We need to keep the streets clean. We need to keep people not distracted. We don't need any distracted driving. But I want to talk more about you, because you went to Harvard. You were on Jeopardy. I need to get the pipeline from going to Harvard, living in New York, going on Jeopardy. Now you're a mayor. Tell us a little bit about you and your story and how you got into politics.
Sure. I can't say that there's a linear path to all those different things. I was fortunate enough to get into Harvard. My parents had 1 year of college between them. I'm the first on my mother's side to graduate college. So that was a great experience. I studied government, went to law school, started my career in New York. Jeopardy was just a kind of a fun detour. I always watched the show. I have a pretty good memory and I love trivia. So I auditioned a few times, was lucky enough to get selected, and I got the call and got to go on. That was a great experience. In terms of being mayor, it was simple. When I moved back to South Florida, I didn't want my children. I only had one son at the time. Now I have a daughter as well. He was a year old. I looked at him. I said, I'm building my practice here as a lawyer. I'm trying to build a business here. I didn't think when I grew up in South Florida and left after high school that I had a lot of job opportunities. Now I'm back in my 30s and I think I do have them. But what are we doing for the next generation? Am I building a life here knowing that he's going to go away to graduate high school and not want to come back? I went to a city council meeting to say, what are we doing to attract jobs? And the mayor then was talking a little bit about it, and went to a second meeting and a third. And after that, I thought, maybe I can contribute here. So I did a lot of due diligence, met with a lot of people, decided to run for city council, won again, decided to run for mayor. And now I'm completing my final term. I've had 3 terms. I'll be finishing up in March with 8 years. But it's been a great opportunity to contribute to my city. I hope to make a difference and really still focused on creating jobs. That's why this Mamdani opportunity in New York with businesses fleeing may help bring to fruition one of the things that led me to get involved in public service in the first place, which was creating jobs for younger people here.
What's next for you after this term is up?
Looking at a lot of options. It's been flattering that people are talking to me about continuing my public service. Right now, I'm focused on what I can do as mayor. I still have 4.5 months plus, and we have a lot of phone calls that we have to respond to from inquiries that are coming in, but always look for ways to serve my community.
Well, that's nice. And I know you have kids, you mentioned, and I always think, and I don't know how old they are or if you want to share that information, but I see what's happening on college campuses. And it's so different and so concerning from the time that I was on college campus. When I was in college, I mean, people disagreed politically, but it was never a problem. Now it's a problem, right? We're seeing, and at your alma mater, we're seeing this at other Ivy League schools, Columbia, this crazy anti-Semitism on campus, threats to free speech. Now younger kids are mocking Charlie Kirk's assassination. It feels like campuses and college educations are just a lost cause. Do you have any idea on how we can undo the indoctrination? Because I went to college, I was conservative in college, I remained conservative, and I'm fed a lot of conservative content on social media. Maybe social media is a tool that conservatives can use to kind of keep people from falling into that indoctrination, but what's your take on that?
I think we have a lot of challenges, and social media is a problem, but it's also a tool. You're right. The colleges have been incredibly indoctrinated, and there is such a liberal tilt on all of these campuses, most of these campuses here. And it's more pronounced than when I went almost a generation ago. I think we've seen that in recent years. We've seen the responses, the tone deaf responses by the university professors, some of whom got fired, university presidents who got fired for their just tolerance of hate that anti-Semitism and violent threats shouldn't depend on the context, but we don't have to go there. From a larger standpoint, we are more isolated, and we are in a generation now that has grown up fully with social media, and it concerns me for our country. We can't have that type of discourse, and we need to have it. We're all Americans, and I don't see Democrats as the enemy. I see them as someone that we have to live with in our nation, that they're our neighbors and our friends. I've got friends who are Democrats. A lot of people have spouses, relatives, children of a different party. That should not stop the conversation. Charlie Kirk's murder was so tragic for so many reasons, because he was out there courageously trying to have debate and real discussion. And he was a powerful debater. And I think he changed a lot of minds, but his willingness to have that conversation, we're seeing young people shut off. And that's why every group I talk to, young or old, I say, please listen to multiple sources of media. It's not even just conservative media. I do read liberal media every day too, just to understand what people are saying, because we can't lose sight of where we have to go as a country. And if we're going to be America first, we have to build the base. We see the left being attacked by fringe ideas. We have an opportunity here to build a coalition like Reagan did with Reagan Democrats. He won 49 states in 1984. That mark has not been reached. And we can get there again, but I think we need to push out far left ideas and get the mainstream. And this is an opportunity where conservatives and Republicans can talk to independents and Democrats and hopefully sway them. The Democratic Party today is not the party it was 20 years ago, 40 years ago, or longer. And I think people don't even realize this. Tuesday's vote was an awakening, I think, for a lot of people. And you're going to see the mainstream Democrats cower more. And it's an opportunity for us to reset.
Absolutely. The future is bright. I am remaining hopeful for the future. And Mayor Singer, thank you so much for joining this episode of Nightly Scroll. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much.
Very cool. Absolutely love to hear from our America First mayors, Mayor Scott Singer, everyone. So you can follow him and check him out. But he's doing great work here in Florida. And on that note, we're going to end the show on some scrolling time. I actually saw this, but then Justin sent it to me as well. This is a little golfer, a little tyke on the golf course, and he is frustrated with the distractions. Listen to this.
Oh. I can't concentrate when that woodpecker's picking that tree.
Please tell me you got that.
I love how he whiffs totally whiffs the golf ball. It's definitely the woodpecker. It's totally the woodpecker pecking the tree. And I was looking at the comments and people were laughing because they were like, he is Charlie Brown reincarnated, like as a real human being child. Sounds exactly like Charlie Brown. It's just super cute. And I can totally relate. Can't have a peep from anybody, a bird chirps, the wind blows the wrong way. It can all throw off your golf game. I get it. And it's best to just blame other people. Never blame yourself. Not on the golf course. You just have to keep it positive. It's always someone else's fault. It's not yours. Keep it moving. All right, this next one, I don't even know what this is. I wrote Bambi stressed. I don't even remember what this is. So let's just play it and we'll react. I don't know what this is.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Oh.
A deer almost gets hit by a car.
Bambi, get out of the road,
Almost
Bambi.
gets hit by another car.
Bambi, get out of the road.
Can we play it again?
Oh my God. Oh. Bambi, get out of the road, Bambi. Bambi, get out of the road.
I wanted to play it again because I was talking over it and I didn't hear his commentary, but why do they do that? You know, deer in headlights, why? It's like a moth to a damn flame. They're just like, car? Me? I don't get it. I don't understand. They have like the survival instincts of a fart. I don't get it. All right, this Andy thought that was funny. All right, this next one is, I just wrote possum. I totally forget what this one is, but it's got to be a video of a possum, so let's hit it.
Did you catch him?
Oh, just some redneck kids pulling at a possum by its tail.
You found him!
Look at his legs. Shut the door.
God, there's a possum in my house.
We got to play this again. I'm sorry. This is insane. These are two toddlers. The boy toddler, of course, brings in a possum. He's carrying the possum in by its tail. This part is cracking me up because he's holding him just at floor level. So he's got his front two legs trying to get away, but the little boy's holding him by the tail.
God, there's a possum in my house.
The parents, by the way, are totally letting this fly.
Mom doesn't even get up from her blanket.
Not even phased. The mom's sitting on the couch. She's probably got a glass of wine in her hand. She's like, or maybe she's totally blitzed. I don't know. But she's sitting there and she's like, oh, there's a possum in my house again. Like, this is certainly not the first time that this has happened. She's like totally gone. But you can hear the mom and the dad like, oh, like, you silly kids, what are you doing? I mean, I would never attempt to do this, but I don't think my parents would have reacted that way. All right. The next few videos that I have are all AI. And you know how I feel about AI videos, but these are all, actually, no. There's one that I'm going to get into first. This is for my millennials who grew up on Four Loko. Watch this.
Good evening, sir. We have a vintage 2010 Four Loko. It's the original lemon lime recipe, retired shortly after this run. Cellared and served at 42 degrees to keep its brightness without masking the malt.
You know, Four Loko was, I don't even know what it was, like a malt liquor drink. I don't even know what's in it. But there was an original recipe of Four Loko that was totally insane. And then they kind of revamped the recipe, I think, to make it better for human consumption because it certainly wasn't safe to drink. So yeah, this is just funny because I feel like the original Four Loko recipe would probably be like a fine wine today. Like people would pay a pretty penny for that.
Well, it was not only alcohol, but it was also caffeine.
Right. Alcohol and caffeine
Which is why it got banned.
Well, now people drink espresso martinis all the time and no one's banning those.
Well, if you do it in stemware, it's not as bad for you.
Right. It just looks way classier. Four Lokos and espresso martinis are the exact same thing. They're exactly the same. But yes, the glassware makes a total difference. It's less trashy. And yeah, so it's socially acceptable. They're like, I don't know, like the gentrified version of Four Loko. All right, these next 3 AI videos that I have for you are musicals. They are musicals inspired by current events. And the first one is Diddy the Musical, brought to you by AI. Watch this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's performance of Diddy the Musical.
Diddy in the house, Hollywood, Hillside. We're about to light it up tonight. We're gonna have a freak off party over the city lights. Let's freak off together, all dressed in white. Look at the labels, look at the foil, baby oil. So much baby oil. Stacks and stacks we can't avoid. Hundreds of bottles. Hundreds of bottles. I'm going to jail, Diddy. Yeah. I'm going to jail, Diddy. What I've done and what I didn't do. Jail, Diddy.
And the Tony goes to
The orange jump.
Diddy the Musical.
Woo! Thank you. How much do you think I can sell this award for? I need more baby oil.
I love how the AI version, it's like actually Diddy as the main star because he's accepting the award. Like, I need more money for the baby oil, like in character. I feel like the music in Diddy the Musical would be incredible. I mean, he's a music mogul. It would be great music. So anyone, this next AI musical was inspired by the blue, black, white, gold dress. Whenever that whole thing happened. But watch this.
I see a shadowed midnight thread woven deep in dusk.
I see the sun's own gentle gold in the selfsame cloth.
How can it?
So I remember this vividly when this all went viral. I'm trying to think when it went viral, but 2015. So this was a 2015 online viral phenomenon centered on a photograph of a dress. And if you could pull up a photo of the dress, so I'm sure people have seen it, but let's pull it up. I am convinced that it is white and gold. I see white and gold. I do not see blue and black. What did you see?
I don't even remember.
We'll pull it up and
I feel like white and gold.
Andy, what did you see? This dress? Do you remember this?
I think I always saw the gold.
Right?
Yeah. I always saw the gold, yeah.
I don't know how, and listen, I understand like color theory and lighting can make things look different, but I don't know. Apparently the dress is blue and black, but I don't know how certain lighting can make a blue and black dress look white and gold. I could see the opposite. But how can black look gold in certain lighting? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I think gold could look black in certain lighting, but it's not mathing to me that it could be opposite. Clearly it is possible, but I don't know how. Anyway, it's just totally crazy. This next AI musical is about Harambe. Rest in peace, Harambe.
In the hush of the morning, I hear the river run, and the world remembers the name of my son.
Harambe, noble and strong.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to tonight's performance of Harambe, the musical.
Little one, why have you come past the rails, past the sign?
I just wanted to see you close, I didn't know the line.
The world.
I never asked for walls of glass I never sought the stairs. I only wish for open sky.
I'm not bound by their fences. I'm not chained by the past. The sky has
Crying in
opened
the
for
audience?
me at last.
100% I would watch that. It looks good. And this is also Broadway should be scared. Hollywood writers should be scared. These are good music. These are good concepts for maybe not the blue and black dress or whatever, but I would totally watch Harambe the musical.
The scores are way too good.
Way too good.
Way too good.
Yeah, it's a little scary. And if anyone doesn't remember, Harambe was the gorilla that was shot and killed at the Cincinnati Zoo in 2016 after a child got into the enclosure. And of course, they had to kill the gorilla to get the kid out safe. The internet blew up over it. Rest in peace, Harambe.
He then became a leading candidate for president in 2016.
Did he?
Oh, yeah. He was like, people wrote his name in, and he received a far too great percentage of the vote in 2016.
I remember D's nuts. I don't remember Harambe being a presidential candidate.
Oh, yeah. Harambe for president was
Harambe from beyond the grave.
Yep.
Dang. All right, this last video, this is a stand-up comedy bit, but I thought that it was very funny about trans people, so watch this.
If a guy removes his penis and like puts a wig on and throws on a dress, everyone's like, you go girl, live your truth. But if a guy wears a toupee, everyone just laughs at him. And he's just trying to identify as someone with hair. But society's like, nah, we don't play that shit.
Isn't that crazy? I am so for men doing anything they want to their appearance to make themselves feel better. I don't think it's gay or anything. I think you should, if you're losing your hair, do something. Fly to Turkey, get hair plugs, do whatever. I have hair extensions in my hair. I am fully like, go do what you need to do to like feel good about yourself. I'm all for it. But I did think that his point was funny about how like grown ass men who are mentally ill can put on a dress and the left is like, woo! And then a normal guy who's not mentally ill, he just doesn't like that he's going bald, is like, boo. Anyway, that's just the left for you. But thank you for scrolling along with me today. Of course, you could follow me at Hayley Caronia on social media platforms, X, Truth Social, TikTok, Instagram.